Welcome to Franchise Marketing Radio, brought to you by SeoSamba. Comprehensive high-performing marketing solutions for mature and emerging franchise brands. To supercharge your franchise marketing, go to SeoSamba.com. That's SeoSamba.com.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Franchise Marketing Radio, and this is going to be a fun one. Today we have with us Scott Gittrich with Toppers Pizza. Welcome, Scott.
Hey, Lee. How you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for doing this today. I'm excited to learn your story. Tell us a little bit about Toppers Pizza.
A little bit about Toppers Pizza. We consider ourselves a well-established but emerging brand because we're at the front end of some big growth here. I'm the founder of the business. We started 30 years ago this August. Our founding vision was to be the QSR pizza place that makes our food from scratch and brings a bold variety and recipes to our customers. So that's where we sit in the pizza industry. We've got 69 restaurants in about 10 states. We're headquartered in Whitewater, Wisconsin, and about 2/3 of our restaurants are in Wisconsin and Minnesota. We've got a great average unit volumes, great franchise proposition for business people. It's been an incredible last 3 years, and in particular, during COVID, our concept with a commitment to technology, small footprints, delivery, fresh food made from scratch really has done well. And here, kind of emerging out of the pandemic, it's more of the same. So, we continue up over last year, and we just feel really great about the environment and where we're positioned for the future.
Now, let's talk a little bit more about kind of the backstory. You've been involved in the pizza industry since you were a kid. Can you talk about what attracted you to pizza as a young person, and then what inspired you to kind of go out on your own at such a young age to start Toppers?
Yeah, well, oh man, it's that's an interesting way you asked that question. Little kids end up wanting to be teachers or policemen because that's what they see. And I don't know, I have fond memories of pizza places, growing up and connecting with family and friends over pizza. It's unequivocally the best food on earth. I know that sounds ridiculous, but started in restaurants when I was 15. Touched a couple of really great leaders who really showed me a path to a wonderful career in the restaurant business. I studied engineering in college, and I actually have a degree in psychology. But truly, my heart's always been in restaurants. It's such incredible, humble work. Anybody that's anybody has been on their hands and knees scrubbing a baseboard or cooking, and certainly, for minimum wage, saying yes or no, sir, about cold fries or whatever. And I just have a strong piece of my heart is connected to the industry. So I saved up some money working in a restaurant, saved up $30,000 with my then wife, and we saw the landscape of pizza had emerged to be these, at that point in 1991, there were essentially four, mammoth pizza food companies. And we felt that there was a real opportunity to do something special with the food. Bring that QSR aspect, the delivery, small footprint, kind of the kitchen platform, but to really do pizza right, to respect pizza, make it from scratch, have bold recipes. I mean, there were about 10 pizza toppings in 1991, and we kind of broke the mold and put chicken on pizza and taco. And today we have mac and cheese and buffalo chicken, and we put cheese curds on pizza. And Nashville hot chicken is what we're doing right now. And we do have a big plant-based line of pizzas, and we're just kind of the pizza place that respects pizza and does it. We think does it right. We use, real Wisconsin cheese, which you might think that the big people use, real 100% cheese, but that's not true. They freeze it. They put fillers in it. So that's us. We do it right, pizza, and we deliver it the way customers want. Toppers.com, we've invested millions of dollars into our e-commerce solution, and it is just incredible. We do, last week it was almost 74% of all of our sales came in digitally. So, and that just continues to climb almost on a weekly basis. So we've just set ourselves up for the way consumers like to eat today.
Now, when you started it, was it built around, okay, I'm going to franchise this? Because at that time there was, for whatever reason, I mean, you can speak to this better than I can. That part of the country, pizza places, were born. What makes it about that part of the country that so that inspired the founding of so many pizza outfits?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I've asked myself that myself. I suppose that certainly there's some touch to pizza really got its foothold in the United States out of World War II and all the GIs that had spent some time in Italy and that kind of thing. That's the story. Certainly New York's a hotbed of great pizza, and Chicago, but certainly there's a lot of chains emerged out of the Midwest. I mean, you're right. Some great mom and pops on the coast and that kind of thing, and everywhere. But some great chains have come out of the Midwest. It's interesting. I'm going to have to go ahead and put it on those historical things. But when I started it, I didn't necessarily I wasn't thinking, okay, I'm going to start a big franchise company and hired a bunch of consultants or that kind of thing. I'm really a restaurant person in my heart and an operator, and that's what I grew up in. So we did think that, God willing, if we did a great job and customers loved us, that we fancied that it could be a great opportunity for the Toppers Pizza Nation that we didn't know yet, those team members and people that if we did a great job, that we suspected that if we could pull it off, that it could grow. We believed in the opportunity, but we fought tooth and nail, and I've fought tooth and nail all along, just running great restaurants, taking care of customers, taking care of team members. And those first franchisees were team members. They were people who had grown up at Toppers Pizza, spent a few years at Toppers. They believed in what we were doing. They scratched up a little money from family and opened up a restaurant. And some of those franchisees are still franchisees today, and have sent their kids off to college and have made great livings running 3, 4, 5 Toppers Pizza restaurants that they've opened over the years. So it's pretty special.
Now, so when you started out, you weren't dreaming of kind of a empire building. You were just trying to make a good restaurant, a good pizza, and really separate yourself from a quality and innovation standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be disingenuous to say that I didn't have big business dreams. I certainly did think that, because I'd worked at good restaurant companies that had grown through franchising. Matter of fact, I'd worked for franchisees a couple of times and really admired the franchise concept. My last gig was working for a franchisee at Domino's Pizza for 7.5 years, and he's one of my he's still today one of my business heroes. He's retired now, but quite something. And I believe in the franchising idea that both parties, franchisor and franchisee, win together. Nobody can really win at the expense of the other. It's like a marriage. So, aside of the restaurant industry, I'm drawn to the franchising industry. I believe in it. It's quite something to be supportive of entrepreneurs, people that are putting, all of their hard-earned money on the line and pouring their heart into basically the brand that we built over the years, and now here it works for them to grow their own empire. And it's pretty awesome what's happening right now, and the people that are coming to us, and the momentum that we're building here as our current and new franchisees continue to grow.
Now, can you talk about that transition from when you have your own restaurant and it's about serving that customer and making the pies and being consistent and, serving those people and growing sales individually in that restaurant. And then you decide to become a franchisor and really put the pedal to the ground there. And now you're a training and development company, and you're helping other people sell one more pie and helping them make money faster. And was that kind of that's an entirely different business. Now you're doing a different kind of task every day, and you're having different metrics for success in that world. Ultimately, you're helping people eat more pizza, but in your world now as a franchisor, you're helping other people sell more pizza. So how did that go? Was that smooth sailing because of your experience with that franchisee, or was that something that was kind of at least a mental shift, I would imagine, of going from that, local sales to, okay, now I'm training and developing other folks?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that there's a personal question and a business question in there. On the personal side, it's kind of all fun in some ways. Like it's an opportunity to learn and continue to grow in my role. Today as a CEO of a system of $75 million versus showing up every day in a restaurant, 25, 30 years ago, and working with a team of restaurant people to serve customers. It's certainly different, but extremely interrelated work the experience just builds on itself for me personally. There's certainly a part of me that thinks of my days actually in a restaurant. In some ways, I've, kind of idealized that. I always think of it like if I were a basketball player and eventually I owned a team or I was in upper management and I'm kind of, have a role, but I imagine myself on game day sitting up in a skybox and looking down on the court and saying to the person next to me, I used to be a player. It's something like that. I mean, I've actually joked with my wife that in retirement, maybe we could start a little pizza place, just a place that's open 3 or 4 days a week where we just know our customers and have a small team. And it sounds kind of silly, but it's just like a lot of people's work, as you become successful, you work yourself out of whatever that great job was that got you first into that line of work. Now, that being said, I love the work that I do today a lot. It's definitely different. The shift is still one of scale and giving to run a great restaurant. Still, you're pouring your time and energy into the people around you, and you're building great restaurant people. Today, it's having the right team at Topper's Pizza that are pouring their time and energies into franchisees, into management, multi-unit folks, store general managers. It still is a very giving sort of work because it's people focused and it's it's a commitment to helping the people around you succeed at what they do, and kind of letting and being very confident that if they're successful, that that's going to lead to the success, your own personal success, but also the success of the organization. And that's really where we're at. It's I'll tell you this: there's franchise companies that are very good at, it's almost like people have a great idea. In the pizza business, I'd say when fast casual first came out, the Blazes and Mods of the world, whenever that was 6-8 years ago, there was about 100 of those places that immediately popped up, particularly on the coast. It was like every investment group, went out and bought a single restaurant and tried to franchise it. And they may have had business smarts, maybe even some of them had franchising smarts, but it didn't grow organically from some real concept that actually worked and resonated at the customer level in a store. So I'll tell you what, if I had to choose one thing, either you've got great restaurants that customers love and are fanatic for, and then you build up the business on top of that, or you're a great business person and you're going to figure out the restaurant as you go. That's born to lose right there.
Right. You got to have that foundation, and the super fans are real. It's not manufactured. And I think a lot of folks, I think you're exactly right, that they have a concept and they just scale and hope. And, that's just tough for that franchisee because they're buying the hope. So that's why, the franchising world has those kind of stories of the disgruntled franchisee because of that. Now, in your case, it sounds like you built a really solid foundation, and it isn't until fairly recently that the pedal's to the ground and you're really expanding aggressively.
Yeah, we've opened double-digit stores in a year, twice in the last 5-6 years. So it's waved forward, kind of on environment and who's connecting with us and that kind of thing. But there's been such a reset in the restaurant business in the last particularly year. Depending on who you believe, 20 to 25% of the restaurants in the United States have closed. Every single business, and of course every restaurant has tried to quickly, if they weren't already, they've tried to quickly go to delivery, tried to go to e-commerce and try to find the partners that are going to work with them to be able to offer customers the right access, the right technological channels that customers look for. I'm telling you, the things that are hot right now and that are, that's not the right way to say it, because it's not the things that are hot. It's emerged the entire time. So these things are in our DNA. They really are in our DNA. From the time I started in restaurants to today, we made a bet that delivery was the way of the future. And for the last 30 years, food delivery has gone one direction. I mean, when I first started Toppers, people would walk in the restaurant and they would literally look around and say, "Where do I sit down and eat?" And we would explain to them what delivery was. We would say it's like Chinese. I mean, it's amazing to think it was just 30 years ago that basically food delivery was still kind of emerging. And today it's like every restaurant, if they weren't doing it a year and a half ago, they rushed to it now. Right. And we self-perform delivery. It's in our DNA. This is what we do. And it's very easy to see restaurant companies that are struggling to do that right, or they're paying, the better part of all of their sales to other people to market and perform their delivery. Our technology, we were truly one of the first e-commerce restaurants in 2007. Toppers.com was launched as a restaurant e-commerce engine. Of course, we did very little business. That was 14 years ago. I mean, again, this is amazing to think. But we have poured millions of dollars into our own proprietary e-commerce and point of sale solution so that during the pandemic, we were set to serve our customers in this extremely important way. We didn't have to try to quickly figure it out. We're born and bred for this thing. And then the last piece I would say is the menu. We kind of sit in this place of quality, bold recipes. It's a little more complicated than maybe your classic franchise, how we cook and what we do in our kitchens. But it's what consumers really are looking to get is high quality food that serves diverse lifestyles. And even some of those lifestyles are identity kind of lifestyles, like plant-based, keto, this kind of thing. And we're uniquely set up to succeed in this environment.
So let's talk a little bit about the ideal franchisee. Is it that kind of person that always had the dream of having a pizza place, or is this a person that's buying this as to add a complementary piece to their already existing franchise portfolio?
Yeah, we've succeeded with both of those people. The thing that is common among the right fit for Toppers Pizza is that they're engaged. So we have a very strong culture where Toppers is not going to be the right fit for somebody who has a portfolio of businesses unless they have committed people that truly are, in it to be in the pizza business. It's not the kind of thing where you're, the franchisee is off on a boat and somehow some manager is making it happen by themselves. Now, that being said, we certainly have, high net worth folks that are business people who work with great restaurant operators who are that person who run their Toppers Pizza franchise in that way that works. So, that's the common thing. So we have franchise opportunities for single store operators, in the markets where we already serve. So in Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Carolinas, Nebraska, and these places where we already have a good foothold, we have great single store opportunities for those in those markets. In places where it takes a little more wherewithal in order to be able to go into a market and build awareness more quickly, where you really want 2 or 3 franchise companies that really can, build out a market or make a strong footprint in, 3, 4, 5 years. It takes a little bit more wherewithal. So, but we take both approaches depending on the market and the people.
Now, if somebody wanted to learn more, have a more substantive conversation with you or somebody on the team, what's the website?
Yeah, Toppers.com. You can find it. That's our e-commerce site, but you can find the button there, or toppersfranchise.com.
Good stuff. Well, Scott, thank you so much for sharing your story today. You're doing important work, and we appreciate you.
Thanks, Lee. Good questions. Have a great day.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We'll see y'all next time on Franchise Marketing Radio.